Hello everyone, I'm making a video about the practical exercise number 1. So this is very important. So this is basically telling you how to connect to our teaching server, the VxDB02, and there are two ways to do that. So I'm going to show you both ways, but I'm going to demonstrate in my command line window on my Mac. So I'll just show you what, if you're already in CSE server, the VLab, then what you can do is that, so let's say that this is, you have already logged into VLab. If you go to any lab machine in CSE, what you can do is that you can SSH VxDB02. It will automatically take you to our teaching server. So this is one way. And let me show you the other way. So if you can look at the right hand side, this is a terminal on my Mac. Right now I'm already logged in. So this is my local computer. If I want to connect to VxDB02 directly, we can use its fully qualified name like this. Basically, copy that here, and then we change that to our ZID. So my ZID is Z520/1682, and now we're in the same place as before. And you can check whether you're in there by looking at the hostname VxDB02. Great. So the first time you log into here, it will automatically create a directory. So basically, if you look at user, this will be just your ZID. So the directory that's created for you is in local storage user. So basically, the folder is named after your ZID. So when you first get here, you see that there's nothing here. It's empty. So thanks to previous guys running this course, they made it fairly easy to set up PostgreSQL. So basically, you need to run 3311 pg init. So what it does is that it will set up PostgreSQL for you, and after this, you'll see that in your designated folder, you'll have the M file as well as the PGSQL folder. So the M file here is super important. So it defines how you can start and stop the database. So basically, if you don't source this M file, like you should always do, if you don't source it, P1 will not work because it will not recognize P1 and P0 as starting and stopping the server. So usually what people do is that they can manually source this file, and after that you can directly start the server. It will start a server for you, and then you can see that you can list all of the databases you have. So I got some trivial databases in here, and after you're done, you can just do P0 and the server is shut down. So this one thing that I wanted to show you is, so this is a small trick. So if you're lazy, you don't want to source the M file every time, what you can do is that you can set this up in your bash profile, and whenever you log into VxDB02, it will automatically source the M file for you. So let me see what is in my current bash profile. So I got some other settings related to my research, but right now I don't really have this environment set up. So what I want to do is I want to copy this. So I want to copy that. I want a Vim. So you can use Nano if you want. Use any text editor of your choice. I want to open this, and in the end of the bash profile, paste this, or you can type. paste this in there, save it, and now this is already configured for you. So let's just get out of VXDB02 and then reconnect it. And this time, so after you reconnect to VXDB02, what happens is that it will automatically run these 3 lines for you, and it will check if your host name is actually VXDB02. So if the host name here is VXDB02, so it will source the M file for you. So now, because I've already set it up, I don't have to run this again. I can just go straight to P1 and it will work. P0, it will stop. But this is just a nice little trick I want to show you. If you're lazy like me, you don't want to do that all the time, you can set it up. If you don't want to set it up, then you just have to source the M file every time you log into VXDB02. Okay? So usually if you didn't set it up, this is a normal workflow. You got to source the M file, P1, start a server, do something with the database, and then stop the PostgreSQL server. So this is the usual workflow. So if you have set it up, then you can just skip this step. So let's get to the PSQL part. So the basic command here is, oh, oops, you see that? I didn't do P1 first. I didn't connect to the server. So now it is complaining that the PostgreSQL server is not running. So what I try to do is I should start a server and then list all of the databases in here. Great. And let's see what other things are important. So let's play with some interesting databases. So first thing, I think I demonstrated in class, but I'm going to demonstrate this in more detail. So CreateDB allows you to create a database of a given name. So I'm going to stick to MyDB. So if you look at it, now you have a new database named MyDB. So now if you connect to the database, what happens is that you'll be entering in the empty database. If you look at all of the relations, it will say none of the relationships are found because we haven't defined any schema, we haven't defined any table, we haven't populated the data in here, and we should just quit. So now we can make it more interesting by populating a database. So what we can do here is that we want to run this script. Let's investigate what is in this script. So right now I'm in Linux, I'm not in PostgreSQL shell. What I can do is that I can check what is in here. Okay, so you can see that within the file, it defines a bunch of tables, defines the staff table, and inserts into a bunch of values. So these are all professors, John Shepard, Andrew Taylor, and then it defines a student table and then insert a bunch of student values. And in the end, it creates a course table as well as enrollment table, and it inserts into the enrollment values. So basically, this is a one-stop script that you can not only create the tables, but also populate the table with the insert commands, which we'll be more familiar with in a couple of weeks, maybe next week. There's one way to run this, which is in Linux. So in Linux, what you can do is that you can basically use MySQL, psql, MyDB, and then the file handler, and then the file name. So if you do that, it will execute all that. It will actually create a table for you. It will insert those data for you. And let's investigate the MyDB database. So right now you see that we got a bunch of tables as we have demonstrated in class already. And now we can also see these tables are populated. So let's see if we can examine some tables. So whenever you're playing with PostgreSQL, you don't want to miss the semicolon in the end, because that's the syntax. So this is basically listing everything in the courses table. We can also list everything in the students table, and that will be it. So I want to show you another way that we can populate the database. So for now, I'm just going to drop the database, recreate it, recreate the database. Now we have an empty database again. And what if I don't want to do all that? I don't want to, write psql mydbf. So what you can do alternatively is that you can connect to the database first. Right now, this is an empty database. What you can do is that you can do \i followed by the script that you want to run. So this is the same. This is equivalent to psql mydb file handler file name. So these two are equivalent. So this will also create a table and populate the database for us. As you can see that, create a table, we inserted a bunch of values. And the end result is the same. So this is just trying to show you a couple of ways of doing the same thing, so that whenever you want to run a script when you're within the PostgreSQL shell, you don't have to, disconnect to the server and then do that. You can simply do \i followed by something SQL. So just offering this option for you. Let's see what else is interesting. So also, you can turn off the messages. It's not super important, especially for a database at this scale. We actually want to see this insert 01 messages. It means that 0 errors, 1 row inserted. So we actually want to see them for a small scale database like this. And for a large scale database, these messages will go on, and maybe at that time is a good idea to turn off the messages. So basically, the file handler tells you to read its input from the file, and if you're within the database, as I told you, you can do \i followed by the SQL file. So when you're within the PostgreSQL shell, you can examine the database, so like this. And if you want to examine the structure of a specific table, you can do \d followed by table name. This time, because this is not a PostgreSQL statement, so this is just a command within the shell, we don't need to put semicolon in the end. So basically, this is exactly what is defined in the create table statement. So we got a bunch of columns, we define the type of the values within the columns, and we have some other constraints imposed on these columns. So these constraints, like indexes, foreign key, as well as primary key, will make more sense to you in the later part of the course. Let's see what else is important in this Prac exercise. So this is not very interesting. Basically, you're listing everything in a table. And for these mini exercises, feel free to copy these queries into the shell and execute them and examine the results. So this is what you can do too. And let's show you, let me show you the other way of running this. So what if I want to run it in a script? So this is something, in that case, you can do, maybe call it query.sql, and then you copy that in here, and then you save it, and then you reconnect to the database. And note that now you can actually run that query in this way. So this will be so this is the equivalent as running it by passing this select statement. So this will be useful when you're debugging or doing things in the project. So feel free to play with all of these, and you don't have to understand like every little detail about these queries, but you can just start by playing with them. Okay, that looks like the majority part of the process, and always remember to use P0 to stop the server, and whenever you have trouble restarting the server, here are some tips for you to examine the log and remove the basically you want to remove the previously running instance of PostgreSQL. And sometimes when you don't know how to fix it, you can also like delete. Let me show you. So let's just get out of here and get to our designated folder. So basically, after you have installed PostgreSQL in the server, you'll see this file, M file, and this PGSQL folder. And if you cannot work out the log file, if you have trouble understanding the log file and remove the previous instance, you can also remove the M file as well as the PGSQL directory and redo the initialization process. So basically you can remove all that and then do 3311 pg init, something like that. And also you can ask us on the forum. Okay, so okay, that should be the end of the video, because the other parts are just master ways of setting up the environment, and we recommend you just directly use 3311 pg init, and that way you don't have to worry about all these configuration stuff. Yeah, until next time, good luck.